On June 15, 1991, a relatively unknown volcano shocked the world. Mount Pinatubo. This seemingly quiet mountain in the Philippines erupted with a staggering force, such a massive eruption that it earned the title as the most powerful one of the 20th century. As a matter of fact, its effects were so widespread that it disrupted the Earth's climate on a global scale. For centuries, Mount Pinatubo was seen as nothing more than a quiet, unremarkable peak. To the communities living nearby, it posed no real threat. Even scientists overlooked it, barely studied, rarely mentioned, until one cataclysmic event proved it otherwise. When it erupted with such staggering force, it caught the world off guard. The question now is, could Mount Pinatubo erupt again, with the same catastrophic force it unleashed in 1991? Before we dive into this question, let's first get to know this infamous mountain better. Mount Pinatubo is an active volcano located in the Zambales Mountains on the northern island of Luzon. It sits along the Luzon volcanic arc, a region shaped by the movement of tectonic plates. At just 1,745 meters above sea level, Mount Pinatubo was easy to overlook. Compare this to the world-famous Mount Fuji in Japan, which stands at a striking 3,776 meters and commands attention from miles away. This mountain was shaped by a powerful, yet gradual geological process that spanned millions of years. Just off Luzon's western coast, the Eurasian plate slowly subducted beneath the Philippine Mobile Belt along the Manila Trench. As it sank deeper into the earth, the intense heat and pressure caused parts of it to melt. That molten rock began to rise through the crust, slowly building up over time. It was this process that created the volcanic activity in the region, and eventually gave rise to Mount Pinatubo. The mountain was covered in thick jungle, and for generations, it had been home to the indigenous Aita people. They lived off the land, moving through the forests that had long provided them with food and shelter. On the lower slopes, small villages and rice fields spread out where the land was flatter and easier to work. The signs began quietly. On April 2, 1991, Mount Pinatubo released a series of small steam explosions, early warnings that something was stirring deep below. Over the next month, earthquakes beneath the volcano came and went, their numbers rising and falling unpredictably. This kept scientists and locals on edge. Then, on June 12th, the silent volcano delivered its first dramatic blow. A massive eruption shot a towering ash column 19 kilometers into the sky. Through the night and into the morning of June 13th, more explosions followed. But it was June 15th when everything changed. The pressure that had been building for centuries finally reached its breaking point. Supercharged magma surged to the surface, and in one violent, earth-shaking moment, Mount Pinatubo exploded with such a terrifying force. A towering ash cloud shot 40 kilometers into the sky, turning daylight into dusk. Volcanic ash and pumice fell thick across the countryside, covering fields, homes, and roads in a heavy gray blanket. Then came the pyroclastic flows, fast-moving torrents of scorching gas, ash, and rock that raced down Mount Pinatubo's slopes. They swallowed entire valleys, leaving behind layers of volcanic debris as thick as 200 meters. It was as if fate had turned against the Philippines that day. The eruption alone was devastating, but nature wasn't finished yet. As the volcano unleashed its fury, Typhoon Yunya arrived from the sea. What should have been a localized ashfall quickly spiraled into something far worse. The typhoon's strong winds carried the ash far beyond the expected zones, blanketing not just nearby towns but places hundreds, even thousands of kilometers away. Fine ash drifted all the way to the Indian Ocean, and satellites tracked the ash cloud as it circled the planet multiple times. The eruption released millions of tons of ash and sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere. From there, the particles spread across the globe, forming a thin layer that dimmed sunlight and disrupted the atmosphere's balance. Over time, this caused temperatures around the world to drop. Average global temperatures dipped by nearly 0.6 degrees Celsius. It doesn't sound like much, but the effects were far-reaching. Winters became harsher. Weather patterns shifted, especially across the northern hemisphere. In the months and years that followed, the effects of the eruption were felt in quieter, less obvious ways. Snow fell in places that rarely saw it. Monsoon rains came later than expected. Even the jet stream shifted slightly, disrupting weather patterns and unsettling the usual rhythm of the global climate. But the hardest hit was where it mattered most: the food supply. Agriculture suffered as shifting weather patterns threw off planting schedules and growing conditions. Many crops failed, and in some areas, entire harvests were lost, putting food production under serious strain. At the same time, lahars wiped out over 800,000 square kilometers of farmland and killed an estimated 800,000 livestock and poultry. The total agricultural damage was nearly 2 billion pesos. Yet even in the midst of hardship, the best of humanity emerged. Countries from around the world came together, offering support to those hit hardest by the disaster. And true to the resilient spirit of the Filipino people, they rose to the challenge. They rebuilt their lives and communities one step at a time. Today, Mount Pinatubo tells a different story. The once devastated landscape has healed. Forests have regrown and ecosystems have come back to life. It also serves a source of income for locals as it welcomes tourists eager to witness the volcano that once changed the world. But Pinatubo's true legacy runs deeper. In the wake of the eruption, the scientific community made major strides in how volcanoes are studied and monitored. It led to the development of more advanced tools, better early warning systems, and stronger collaboration across countries. But let's get back to our main question. Will Mount Pinatubo erupt again and shake the world to its core? If history has taught us anything, it's that a volcano's silence is never a sign to let our guard down. Stillness can be the calm before the storm. Geological records reveal that after a major eruption, Mount Pinatubo often falls into silence for centuries, sometimes for as long as 500 to 3,000 years. These long stretches of dormancy can be deceiving, making the volcano seem harmless, even forgotten. Globally, scientists estimate there's a 20 to 25% chance that an eruption as massive as Pinatubo's 1991 blast could happen somewhere on Earth in any given decade. As for Pinatubo, the chances are much lower, but they're not zero. The threat may be distant, but it's still real. A major outburst might not happen anytime soon, perhaps not even within our lifetime. But make no mistake, something is still happening beneath the surface. But what are your thoughts about Mount Pinatubo? If you love our story, please subscribe to be part of our community. As always, until the next one. If you'd love to be always prepared when it comes to unforeseen events, we suggest that you get this handy survival kit. Just click the shopping button in the descriptions.